Number 13 is going to involve law of sines and law of cosines. We want to find the length of the tunnel. So there's two different parts. The first part asks us to find the length of the tunnel, and the second part asks us to find the measurement of angle B. So first let's find the length of the tunnel. Now what we have here is a side angle side situation. Side angle side problems can only be solved by using the law of cosines. So that's what we're going to do in this case. Now the side that says tunnel, that's going to be side C. So I want to use the version of the law of cosines that allows us to solve for C. So let's first write the formula out that would apply. So C squared equals A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cosine C. That's the formula that you want to use. There are three different versions, so you do want to make sure you have all three of those versions down on your note card. So in case the letters are changed, we know how to set it up based on that. But this would be the law of cosines formula that you're going to use. Okay, now C is the one that we're trying to find. We don't know that one. Okay, so A is going to be 2900 squared. B is 3800. So we put both of those in there. We have minus 2AB, so it's going to be 2A is 2900, B is 3800. So 2AB, and we have cosine C. The cosine is going to be the angle inside the triangle there, 110 degrees that we're going to use. Okay. Now, you don't have to show the working all this out separately. It's okay to just put all this into your calculator at once. So again, you want to make sure you have a scientific calculator on the test. And so you're just going to put all this in at once. So if you put all that into the calculator, I'm not going to show all the intermediate steps there. I'm just going to go ahead and give you the result that you should get. You're going to get 303.88123.96. Okay, so that's what you get when you do all this in your calculator. You get a pretty big number there, but 2900 and 3800 are pretty big to begin with. So it's okay that you get a large number. So don't freak out by if you see a large number. It doesn't mean you're necessarily wrong. If the sides you have on the triangle are pretty big, then it's possible that you would have something that large. Now don't forget the last step. The last step would be to take the square root of both sides. Now, as I've been saying throughout this test, whenever you take the square root of something, you got to remember the plus or minus. But in this case, we're looking for the length of a tunnel, which can't be negative. So I'm only going to include the positive root here when I do it. So square root that one, and you're going to get 5512.54. And this would be in terms of meters. And this would be the length of the tunnel by using the law of cosines. So that was part I. So part I asks you to find the length of the tunnel. And so with this, I'm going to go ahead and move on to part 2. So I'm going to erase all this. So stop the video if you need to write that down. I'm going to move on to the second part. Okay, so second part, part 2, that asks you to wants you to find the measurement of angle B. Okay, so measurement of angle B, so that we've already gone through all this, and so from the previous part, I'm just going to go ahead and put the result that we got up here. So this one right here, we get 5512 we got, and 0.54. So that's what we got from the first part, and that's how long it is from A to B. Now for the second part, you have a choice to find measurement angle B. You could use law of cosines again, since we have all three of these sides. You could easily do that with law of cosines, but there might be a little bit less math by using the law of sines. So I'm going to do this problem by law of sines, since we have enough information. In order to do law of sines, you have to have a side opposite a given angle, which we do have here now that we've already completed the first part. Okay, so we're going to do sine 110 over 5512.54. If you're going to do law of sines, you have to start with the beginning ratio, the given ratio. We want to solve for measurement of B, so I have to use the side opposite of that, which is going to be 3800 in this case. So we have that. So now I just need to solve this for sine B, and I have to take the inverse because I'm trying to solve for measurement of an angle. So if you cross multiply this one, we get 5512.54 sine B, and that's going to equal 3800 sine 110. So we begin by doing that, where we cross multiply that. Then we're going to divide both sides by 5512.54. And you're going to get sine B is equal to 3800 sine 110 over 5512.54. And if you put that into your calculator, you get 0.6477. There's some more decimals that you get with that. It continues, but this is the decimal that you get. Now in order to get B is going to be the inverse sign of that decimal. So you don't want to round that decimal. Keep that whole decimal in your calculator, 77, whatever it is. Just keep all that in your calculator, and then take the inverse. And if you take the inverse of that, then you get 40.37 degrees, and that's going to be your measurement for angle B. It's okay to use 2 decimal places. I know that by doing the homework it's a little bit more strict and required you to actually write out more decimal places, but on the final exam, since I'm grading it, I'm a little bit more lenient with it. So if you round your answer to 2 decimal places, that's going to be close enough in order to get your answer down here. So 40.37 will be close. Now if you did use more decimal places for this, you might get a slightly different answer than I had. But again, it's going to be close enough as long as you're within the ballpark of this and you did this part correctly, then you should be fine.